Hello! Oh my gosh, we have been gone too long. We will fill you in on everything that's been going on for the last couple of months and why we haven't posted any videos. And also share with you some camping cost information. But right now, Scott's hooking us up and our buds, Angie and Conaway, are getting hooked up as well. We met them here at this Harvest Host Winery behind me in Ohio. And we're heading out to meet up with some more friends for a World Chicken Festival and also some fun in the North Carolina mountains. So we'll be right back and catch you guys up.
Welcome back to our epic field trip. We have been gone way too long again.
Yeah, gone from YouTube way too long.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've talked about in the past that we have several business endeavors that we're juggling. Scott runs the mapping business, and I typically do the YouTube editing, and I've also got a travel business. But what happened a few months ago, Scott was just starting a couple of big mapping projects, and I got a call out of the blue to do some consulting work for the company that I used to work for. And that was always intended to be part of the mix as well of our business endeavors. So we didn't want to say no. And he had to keep working on the projects. So that actually meant that we were separated for a little while so that I could go and do the consulting assignment and honor that commitment, and so that he could honor his commitments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was up in Wisconsin when all that transpired, and then I went over to North Dakota to do another project, and then we met up in Michigan for Labor Day weekend, and you went back, and I did a little bit of traveling down to visit family, and we got back together.
Yeah, yeah. And so the consulting assignment that I was on was actually in Ontario, just outside of Toronto. It was, part of my old career, environmental and safety professional, and just did some consulting there at that plant for about 6 weeks. And it just was not possible to keep up with our YouTube editing at the same time as doing all that.
Right.
So here we are. We're actually back together now, and we learned quite a bit through that process. We know that we enjoy the juggling of different things. However, we don't want to be separated again.
No. Right.
So we didn't like that at all.
No.
But sometimes you have to do what you have to do when the opportunity strikes, and it's you want to kind of get started off on the right foot and be able to ensure that you have maybe more opportunities in the future. So you make some commitments and make some sacrifices along the way.
We do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what we did want to do is share some information about our first year campground costs. So we talked about our first year nomadiversary, which we had back in August. And we've got a video out on that for some general kind of lessons learned and things that maybe the way being a nomad has changed us. But we've got a video on that. We didn't share any costs at that point. And we did want to share the campground costs. Not anything else though, because that stuff is highly variable. So things like insurance and fuel and even groceries or things like that. It's just, our costs would not relate and translate to anybody else for those kinds of items. But we thought it might be helpful for people if we shared how we ended up, what amount we spent for costs, for campground costs, and also kind of the different categories of campgrounds that we stayed at, or overnights that we stayed at.
And I thought it would be helpful for a lot of the people who own Class A's, the larger Class A's too, and to go over these costs so they know that even if you do have a large motorhome, this is what it'll cost you on average per night.
Yeah, yep. So let's dive into that. Grab my glasses, and we've got a couple of charts. And so we're going to look at the charts here, but I'm going to flash them on the screen for you so you can see them better. But to start with, we wanted to break down the different categories of places that we stayed at. And you'll see that we broke those down into kind of the biggest category is the independent, like a KOA, Jellystone, or other privately owned park. Right now, that's the biggest chunk of number of nights that we stayed, and we stayed at that kind of a park a total of 155 nights. Then the next biggest park is it's free nights, so we did pretty good, considering it was our first year.
First year, yeah.
So we actually stayed 73 nights at a free site, and that might be a BLM area. It also could be a project site, because when Scott's doing mapping projects, frequently we will stay right on site, and that, of course, is free. Or maybe it's in transit, where we stayed at a rest area or a truck stop or something like that. So that's all in one category, 73 nights. Then we had Thousand Trails. So we do have an annual pass, and Scott's going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But we ended up staying 72 nights at 1,000 Trails parks. Then we stayed at some national, state, and COE parks that charge fees, and we stayed 70 nights there, and we really enjoyed those nights quite a bit. Those and the boondocking sites were great. 23, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry. We had to make some corrections, so that was 23 nights. I knew that was too many nights.
Yes.
So, anyway, 23 nights. And then we stayed, we are also Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome members, and you know we love those. Those are awesome. And we stayed a total of 17 and 9 nights at those two places. And then rounding it out with 16 nights at a service center getting service work done. So that's not so pleasant, but it's free. So, and that is one of the pieces of the pie there. So that's kind of how the categories broke out in terms of across the year, the different kind of categories that we stayed at and the mix of that. Now for the costs of those categories and how that broke out.
Let's go over those real quick. Now, like she said, our biggest number is 155 nights at independent KOA Jellystone, and that was our biggest cost at $35.53 each. So you're looking at about $5,500. And being first year RVers, I think that was higher than we would like. So we're working on that number. And I think that's going to make a big difference this year, because we won't need to do that as much. Now, the next one, 72 nights at 1,000 Trails. Average per night is $14.84. Now that includes the cost of the 3 zones and the trails collection at $856.92. Plus, we're newbies. We've paid extra for some extra stays during a Tucson visit where it was really cold and snowy. So that was another $211.46. At that point, after that, our next one would be our National State COE Park. And that was 23 nights at an average of $18.96. And after that, we belong to Harvest Hosts and Boondockers Welcome. Boondockers Welcome, we spent 9 nights, and that equaled $333, and that included the cost of the membership divided by 9 nights. Harvest Host, we did 17 nights at an average of $17 $2,500 per night. Now, that was the cost of the yearly membership. And, you know, we did spend some money at each Harvest Host, had some wine tastings or whatever we might have gone in. So we tried to add that in so we would have a good nightly average. And then we had 73 free nights, and that was at government land, BLM land, my project sites when I'm on a mapping project, and in transit, etc. And then 16 nights at a service center, usually National Indoor RV. You don't get charged for that, but we definitely did not include the cost of what we were getting done because that's zero. It would have been a lot more than that. But still, you stay over there for maintenance, and they do let you stay for free. So that's 365 nights, and our average was $20.08 per night. And I think for a first year, I don't think that's too bad.
No.
No.
I don't think so either. You know, we definitely realized that first year we were staying at a lot of private RV parks. And there's no doubt that those will run you more per night than some of your other options. But, you know, it was our first year, and those are the easiest places to stay. You have full hookups, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of learn more about your RV in a friendly environment. But that's where our opportunity is, right, to reduce our overall camping costs.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we've done a really good job, considering we had a lot of mishaps, mismanaging the batteries. We have a video of that, and when you do that, you cannot stay out boondocking very long until we replace the batteries. So.
Right.
And we made some decisions while doing that, so that this year we invested in the lithium batteries. Now this year we can boondock more and not spend as much time in independent
RV parks.
RV parks.
Yeah, yeah. And which we love to boondock anyway. Yes. So that's really going to help us be able to do that more and more comfortably. We're also going to put some solar on the roof.
Yeah.
Before the end of this calendar year.
I'm sure we'll have a video on that.
Yeah, and that'll help us be more quiet when we're out boondocking. Because right now we've got the lithium batteries. They're working great. We love them. But they got to get recharged, and that requires turning the generator on. Yeah. So we'd like to be more quiet when we're out in those beautiful spaces.
Yes.
So I think lots of lessons learned.
Lots of lessons learned the first year. I'm happy with the $20.08.
Yeah.
On average per night. I know our goal this year is going to be $15. I'd like to come in below that. That would be exciting.
Which I think is achievable.
I think so too.
Yeah. So that would be pretty good.
We've learned a lot, so we know where we need to cut costs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for now. If you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up.
And hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber.
And until next time,
go find your adventure.
And maybe in our world here, there lives a happy little mountain.